My name's James. I'm from Your Personal Training, and today I'm going to talk about personal trainers. Who would have guessed? More importantly, we're going to talk about how you maximise member experience, community building, and retention rates within your gym facilities. So before we dive in, can I have a show of hands if you currently have personal trainers in your facility? Fantastic. So if we give you a scale, 1 being pretty poor, 10 being world class, how would you rate your personal training service? Would it be above a 5? Put your hand up. Good job. Above a 7? 10? Okay, Glenn, you need to come up here, please. It's very true, very true. Okay, so what I'm going to cover today is some insight into how to create a world-class personal training product. We move through. So a bit about our company to start. We're Your Personal Training. We're the UK's largest personal trainer brand. We recruit and mentor personal trainers throughout the country. So we currently work with just over 500 personal trainers in the UK. We started working internationally as well. And my journey started back in 2003. So I studied at Loughborough University, qualified in those days as a fitness instructor, and then worked for JJB health clubs for a number of years. Can you remember JJB? Yeah. And they were great. They were ahead of their time. They had a great service model, and it was a great experience. From a personal training perspective, that didn't really happen at that time. So that was around 2006. I then worked for Esporta health clubs for a number of years, if you can remember those guys. And I run health clubs in the South Wales area. Now, as an operator of a gym, I had 1,000 things to do on a daily basis. The last thing I could pay attention to was my personal training model. So as operators, we're often super stretched when it comes to the attention to detail it requires to deliver a world-class service. What we do in the industry, we've got 15 years experience as personal training experts. When I came out of Esporta, I started as a self-employed personal trainer. The reason I moved away from operations, hit the ceiling of opportunity, and I felt that I wanted to get back with working and inspiring members. And we serve fitness facilities, as I said, internationally and in the UK. We deliver teams of expert personal trainers within our centres. An expert is the key word on this as well, because we truly believe personal trainers should be the heartbeat of your fitness facility, and they should be the guys who are motivating and inspiring your members on a day-to-day basis. Now, through today's presentation, I'll cover some industry stats as well, because I think largely, as an industry, we can often undervalue the power of a great personal training model. We focus on member engagement and loyalty to your gyms, to keep your members engaged, to keep them motivated. And we have a great length of stay, so I'll explore some of the stats that we see. It's been a real bear bug of mine over the years of the length of stay. Personal trainers churn in. You know, have skill sets but aren't confident enough to apply themselves. So we'll talk a little bit about that in this presentation. And we collaborate with our partners as well. So when we work with an operator, whether you're a large chain organization with 50, 60 clubs, or you're an independent gym, we will collaborate to find the right model that fits your circumstances and your service delivery from a local area. Infrastructure-wise, we've got our 2 regional directors in the room, so JP and Ollie. We have a national team who recruit, onboard and mentor personal trainers. So PTs need support. They need help, they need guidance. And we do that in abundance at Your PT. Okay. So industry stats. Currently, within the UK, 83% of PTs are self-employed. So over the years, we've been through this evolution of PTs predominantly being employed by their operators to now largely being self-employed. PTs enjoy being self-employed because they are the master of their own destiny. They can earn what they want to earn out of the industry, and they can affect more people. On average, this pains me, on average, personal trainers stay around the industry for 5 to 7 months nationally. That's really, really weak. Now, there's lots of variables that play into this. Primarily, education plays a big part. As an industry, we haven't had a great standard of education. We've taught PTs how to do anatomy and physiology, and then told them to go to a gym and sell. So there's been a big chasm of skills gap within that process as well. At your PT, with the attention to detail, our length of stay outside of London is just under 29 months. The importance to an operator is consistency in your delivery. If you've got fitness professionals in your business who are constantly churning, your member experience is not going to be the same this month or in 6 months' time. Within London, that's your region, Ollie, so 31 months on average in the London area. Average earnings for personal trainers, generally in the UK, from the statistics we know, is 22.5. That was taken in 2020. And the average earnings within your PT is around 32k. Now, that's an important variable because one of the key factors PTs drop out of the industry is their earning potential. Yeah? And we'll discuss today a little bit about what PTs want and what operators want. So hopefully, by the end of the session, you can go back to your gym environments and inspire your teams, get them up from a 7 to a 10, and really work on their career development. Okay. So the role of a personal trainer. As I said earlier, from an education standpoint, we teach them how to be great at anatomy, bit of nutrition. We don't teach things like soft skills, how to be a role model, how to collaborate, how to interact. So these are things as a company at your PT we try and plug the gap with, okay? Now we offer our personal trainers a business course when they start within the company because that acts as a skills gap to what they have to do in reality. Now anyone in the room who's looking to level up their personal trainers, we can offer that course free of charge to anyone involved in independent gym to help support the personal trainers to thrive and to grow. But when you're looking for talented fitness professionals, what we have to understand as operators is we need a structured onboarding process. So the first thing we need to get right as operators, if you want the right talent, is to screen your individuals. Okay? So I think as an organization, I walk into gym sometimes and I curl my toes with the standard of personal training that's going on there. So we have to screen. We have to make sure that they've got a viable qualification. We have to make sure that they are competent in the delivery of personal training and that they see personal training as a long-term career for themselves as well. That's a really important factor. As well as that, we need to onboard our personal trainers to immerse them in your ethics and your values as an organization. And that often gets missed because we associate PTs now with being self-employed. We think they just go rogue and they do their own thing. And it's actually not true. It's one of the most important things that personal trainers want is to be part of a team. Okay, so bringing them in and having an onboarding strategy for your PTs is vital if you really want to get the best out of these individuals. As part of an onboarding journey, you might look at things like personal development plans for that individual. So you might identify where their skills gaps are. And with the talent in your teams, you can then align them to some individuals who are probably operating in your clubs that can help nurture them. If they're lacking in sales acumen and you've got a sales manager, partner them up. Do some train-the-trainer situations. If they're struggling with marketing, get maybe a marketeer or your sales guys involved so they can support with that aspect of the business as well. Because the traits are fairly similar. PTs struggle often with similar metrics. And the final one is nurturing that personal trainer. So once we've established a deep understanding of what their aspirations are, and that's an important point, their aspirations, and not prejudge what their aspirations are, we can then take them on a journey and develop that individual to get to their optimal level of personal training, which might change in time as well. With regular check-ins, that journey might evolve. They might want to be more operational focused. But certainly having that pathway of screening, onboarding, and then nurturing is vital when you look at the role. Because we're asking these people to go out, deal with your members, and to instill healthy habits, to be a role model, to educate their audience, to collaborate, and to interact. And the value of that far surpasses often the revenue line that you'll generate with personal training. It's the whole economic cycle of benefiting your members. In terms of the benefits, working with PTs can highly improve your customer service. Now, great stats here are 63% of gym goers who work with a personal trainer feel more motivated, they're more accountable, and they stick with their exercise regime. So we need to understand that notion with the PT, that they can really inspire and help your members achieve fantastic results. And then 75% of gym members say they're more likely to renew their membership if they are working with a personal trainer. Hands up if you'd like that 75% of your members to stay having PT. And of course, there's lots of different service offerings. Small group personal training has a pivotal part to play within your operations as a low entry point for certain members, so that the PTs can then adapt and evolve their journey to maybe one-to-one and certainly getting great results. Does that make sense? Okay. This is what we tend to see when it comes to personal trainers and operators. We see operators who have got a million and one things to do. Personal trainers have got their own aspirations, and we often see friction and a lot of headbutting. It can be frustrating as an operator, totally understand that, and equally, it can be frustrating for the personal trainer. So I think affording the time to understand what that individual's aspirations are will really help that relationship to evolve and help them become part of your fabric as an organization and real influence on your member service. So it's just some insights. And again, looking from an operator's perspective, these are key benefits. So 74% of members who work with personal trainer will renew their membership. 91% of members who work with a PT for 6 months renew their membership. And the biggest one there is an uptake of 7 months. So any personal trainer who's engaging their client base, those members are going to stay in your business for 7 months longer. So as an operator, I'd highly encourage you to look at your PT model and start thinking about the whole economic cycle, the whole commercial benefit of the length of stay when they're engaging with a trainer. Yes, if you're working in a freelance model, you'll have an income stream on a monthly basis. If it's a revenue share, you'll have an income stream. But the whole cycle is the important part of it, of keeping members motivated, keeping them on track with their targets, and getting the best out of your facility. A good method as well that we've found in recent years is considering to have an academy within your facility. What we tend to find these days is PTs are motivating clients to change careers. So by changing a career, you can become a personal trainer and then they could potentially work at your facility. So if that dynamic isn't in place within your clubs currently, we've got a great solution at your PT through your academy that can really support the evolution. Nothing better than a brand ambassador to come through the whole journey within your gym facilities. As a member, achieving a great goal, changing career, and then thriving as a PT. So that's the key aspect. And I guess from my perspective, when we work with personal trainers, I'm in the fortunate and unfortunate position of dealing with PTs when they're thriving and when they're in distress. And there are common traits on both sides. So I think as organizations, as an industry, we really do need to, take the time to understand what's working well and not to avoid difficult conversations. If a PT is leaving your business, do have an understanding of why that's happening, because there might be gaps that we can plug in the operation that will prevent that in future as well. And it's normally lack of confidence a lot of the time with personal trainers. So by inspiring them and helping them, that's going to really help them move forward. Okay, so before I go on that slide actually, what do we think personal trainers want? So if we were to list the top 3 elements that a personal trainer wants from their fitness facility, from their operating environment, what would you say would be the top number 1 area that a personal trainer would want? Fastest finger first. Yeah? Education support. Yeah, great, okay. Yeah, that could be an option. I'll write these down so I'll come back to them. Anything else? Clients. Yeah?
Certainty, which is at odds to being self-employed, but for many that want certainty, don't they? Security.
Yeah.
Even although it's at odds with being self-employed.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
Good facilities.
That's a great one, yeah. Anything else? I've only got 3, so money. Yeah. And what do operators want? If you have got blue sky thinking as an operator, what is your world-class service proposition? What do you want from a personal trainer, from an operator's perspective? Sorry? Service. Yeah. Anything else?
Continuity of service standard.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? It's not much, really, is there? Not much to ask from a personal trainer. But I think that a lot of them are completely accurate. So what we want as operators often is for PTs to be the heartbeat of their club. They've got to be a motivator. They've got to be inspiring. We want them to deliver a service that we're proud of. When we speak to operators, they're always very nervous about talking about personal training. It can often be a source of embarrassment because somewhere along the line, we've lost track on it and it's deteriorated and it's actually not really a service. Operators didn't mention this one, hassle. It can be quite time consuming, recruiting, finding your talent. It can be quite time consuming, coaching the talent and then keeping them engaged and in your facilities. And what we find with PTs, so every year we do a PT survey and we ask our network of PTs and a wider network of what they want, what's important to them. And the 3 aspects there are they want to be part of a team, which is often quite enlightening because, as I said earlier, we often think of PTs as working in silos, doing their own thing. But actually, when you strip it back, they want to be part of a team. Number 2, they want career development opportunities. So we need to think about that because arguably, you've probably all experienced this. You've had a PT in your business doing 40 hours a week and then they've left. What's the reason they've left? It's that assessment. We need to understand why they've left, why they've pursued something different. Because 100% there would have been intervention opportunities there where we could have kept them motivated and kept them working towards an objective that they've created. And the last one, I think Glenda, you mentioned this, is the financial stability. I think that's a key one. So personal trainers, if they're self-employed, they're operating in an environment where there's a lot of flux. We highly encourage personal trainers to be working on direct debit cycles these days. And if your PTs and your clubs aren't doing that, highly encourage them to look at service packages that work on continual payment cycles. Because ultimately, that's going to help them with their cash flow. It's going to help them with their development and their overall business output. So that's kind of where we see personal training and what they want. And I think I've probably caught up in some time there, guys. So what I will do, I'll pop my details up on the screen. If you're an operator and you'd like to review your personal training model currently, we do a completely free audit of your business, your PT service, and we will produce an economic impact report on how your PT service could look. So if you scan the QR code or pop down to our stand downstairs, we can give you the details of that and we can book in an appointment. But as I said, our expertise are in the recruitment, the mentoring, and keeping great people in our business, keeping them in our industry, and we absolutely love it, don't we? So again, if it's an area of concern in your business, we can offer support on that, guidance, or we can look at implementing the Your PT model and even the academy within your facilities as well. So I thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure to present to you today. If you've got any questions at all, I'll make myself available for 10 minutes after this session. So feel free to ask, and I'll answer any questions. Thank you very much. Yeah, have you got questions? Yeah, go for it, mate. Go on, Glenda, you got a question?
Very interesting.
The stats are quite sobering, aren't they, with that?
Very interesting to work with you and understand your ethos, which has been so impressive. I just wondered, if I was to say to you, what is one thing you think our industry could do better immediately, which was a little quick win, to try and help our PTs last that bit longer, what would it be?
Show them how valued they are, I think. That's probably the best. That's probably the best thing we can do with a member or a PT. Is just show them that they are valuable, that they're important, and that we respect, and appreciate them. I think that goes such a long way, doesn't it?
That's a great piece of advice. And it sounds simple, but not often done, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
A great bit of advice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a skill set in itself, isn't it? So it's a very unique sort of area of the business. But I think that when you start getting a deep understanding of what works and what doesn't, then you can optimize and level up your PT product for sure.
You're around this chat, like one of the things that keeps coming across is things about building community and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one of the words that people keep kind of dropping is education.
Yeah.
It's kind of chicken and the egg. So you're talking about length of stay of PTs not being very good.
Yeah.
So it seems like a lot of gym owners, club owners, don't want to invest in their personal trainers because in their head they're thinking they're going to disappear in 6 months' time anyway. So
yeah.
might as well set up
And that's fair and reasonable, yeah.
Get a new trainer ready for when that PT is going to leave in 6 months' time, so they're investing in the first place anyway.
Yeah.
So they're never going to earn a decent amount of money because they're not going to present to what we're educated.
I think that's absolutely.
They're not going to feel like they're valued, they're not going to earn an income.
Yeah.
But where everybody's talking about building these communities and having these superstar coaches.
Yeah.
The options for a trainer to be mentored and to learn some relevant expertise to deliver the trends that we want to sort of be having in clubs.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah, everything you said there is completely fair and reasonable. I totally get why operators wouldn't invest the time because you're used to that cycle of churn. But I think that's where the Your PT model really helps, is because we've got the best length of stay in the industry. So you're guaranteed those PTs, they're going to kick on. They're going to stay a little bit longer. And we've got PTs who've been with us 10, 12 years. But they've developed then their career, into a different level. We do a master trainer program where the PT has PTs working under them as well. But I think that's exactly where you need to get that sort of continuity going with your communities, is kind of having that similar service, that consistency going through. And yeah, it only comes with the mentorship, I believe. And all of our mentors with Your PT have been in their shoes. So they've demonstrated, they've walked the walk, and as a result then they're in a perfect position to educate that individual. So a lot of the time it just comes down to reinstilling the basics and just confidence, building their confidence. But that's, as I said in the presentation, that's so much more powerful then than just an income line from PT. So yeah, does that answer the question?
It wasn't a very good question, was it? It was kind of, I guess like I said, it's looking at reinforcing the basics, but at the same time, trying to find ways of delivering expertise that can deliver new trends.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is that level of sort of expertise, as you say then. So your learning and development internally has to sort of match. So even though it is frustrating when a PT drops out, we can't really scale back on that continuity because it's going to hamper the performance of the next personal trainer, who could be your superstar. But yeah, it's frustrating, yeah, for sure. Especially when you've gone the extra mile to really get that point across and support that individual. And I mean, what we see when I'm dealing with a PT or in distress, a lot of the stuff is circumstantial. It's outside of our control. So we don't see PTs leaving the business because they're not earning enough income. It's usually because perhaps a medical condition has come up, or they have to move to Australia. We've got no clubs in Australia. So it's circumstantial and outside of our sphere of influence. So that's something that we pay quite a big attention to detail to.
You mentioned the business course you guys got.
Yeah.
After that, like what do you guys deliver in terms of the coaching that you want those coaches to deliver on the gym floor?
Yeah, great question. So the advanced business course, first of all, is 25 modules, covers everything from lead generating, sales, and then retention of your clients. So there's a whole heap of information in there. Then it's about the application part of it. So the likes of JP and our PT mentors, they are then responsible for going and role modeling and showing that personal trainer what's good and what's bad. So that hands-on approach is fundamental there, so that we can really hone in on where their gaps are. I mean, we use like an internal matrix, so we can assess 4 different quadrants of what a great PT looks like, and then assess where their gaps are, so we can then hone in on the quadrant that's relevant to them. So I think often there's like a blanket approach, isn't it? We just assume they're not good at sales, so we give them some sales training. But actually, they might be quite good at sales, they're not very good at marketing. So we can then go direct to the individual and bespoke their journey. But I think what we tend to do is get an understanding of their objective as well, what their end goal is. Because if it's not personal to them, it doesn't really motivate them. And I haven't mentioned 6-figure salaries in there at all, because we're very realistic with personal trainers, and it's important that they focus on making a living before they focus on making a fortune. And we've got so many coaches or PTs these days who are looking at Instagram and going, oh, I can do that, and then they fall short because their skills are here, and to do all that sort of stuff, which isn't our area of expertise at all, they need a whole evolution, don't they? There's a whole career journey to get to that sort of level. But yeah, I can see PTs, why they get confused these days. It's completely different. If you joined the industry 20 years ago, the landscape is completely different, isn't it? Great questions, though. Any others? We do in-person or hybrid. We don't do any courses solely online because I don't like them. I think that's been the problem, hasn't it? It's been that deterioration of education standards over the years has primarily been due to the fact that they're all done online. So at a worst case scenario, and we didn't want to take this step, we thought when we launched your academy, we'd pull everything into a classroom environment, do a face-to-face, best learning experience. But that leap was too far. So we've had to settle on kind of a halfway house, this hybrid situation now. All of our tutors are PTs with our company as well. So again, they are delivering from an expert standpoint. I've got a big bee in my bonnet of failed PTs delivering education on how to become a successful PT. That whole cycle is not a good one. So yeah, your academy is designed to do that. So yeah, and we can host them at your gym. So we can come to you, we can bring a tutor in, and we can run the session from your operations. And we are starting to see that cycle now of members getting inspired, having PT, delivering the course, and it's great to see. It's fantastic. So yeah, if you need more details, we can certainly look at some options there. Any others?
How would we go about booking one of the OTs?
Did you scan the QR code? Okay, well, we can book it in. Let's catch up after the session. I'll book your audit in, and we can get that going. Where are you based? Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, that'll be your patch, will it? Coops. Okay, Mr. Cooper. Yeah, we can look after that. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Let's get it booked in. Perfect. Okay. Well, thanks again, everyone. If you haven't been to our stand, make sure you pop down.